All right, so today we're doing something a little different, yeah.
Different how?
Well, we're diving deep into a single source this time.
Okay, I can dig that. Keeps things focused.
Exactly. And get this, the source is, well, a poem.
A poem! You're kidding. What, like Shakespeare or something?
Not quite, haha. This was titled AHAHAH, and it's short, quirky, and it's got me a little intrigued, to say the least.
H-A-H-A, huh? You've really piqued my curiosity now.
That's the idea. So the
Mhm.
poem, it's in French, plays with these repetitive sounds, simple language, but it seems to be saying something about this, I don't know, very human thing.
Go on.
This back and forth we have with comfort and discomfort, like sinking one, avoiding the other. What happens when we maybe, I don't know, take it too far?
Oh, I see where you're going with this. That's something we can all relate to.
That's the thing. And to make it even more interesting, the author included this, like a little postscript reflecting on their own work.
Oh, a bit of meta commentary. I always love that.
Right. It adds this whole other layer. So, you ready to jump in?
Lead the way. Let's hear this poem.
Okay, so here it goes. Clears throat. Dans des moments de déconfort, l'on a besoin de réconfort. Mais quoi qu'à chercher le confort, on risque de tomber dans le sconfort. Trop de préconfort, ça mène des fois le stress post-confort. C'est trop inconfortant tout ça.
Wow. Even without speaking much French, you can feel that repetition, those ah sounds, the almost like childlike simplicity.
Right, it gets stuck in your head. So first impressions, just anything that comes to mind.
Well, aside from the musicality of it, that word sconfruit really jumps out. It's not, a real French word, at least not that I know of.
Yeah, it seems like the author just made it up.
Exactly. And that makes you wonder, what is sconfort? What's beyond discomfort? Like, what happens when we try so hard to avoid it that we create a whole new kind of unease?
That's a great point. It's like they invented this word "scomfort" to describe that feeling of being uncomfortable, specifically because we sought out too much comfort. Have you ever had that experience? Like, imagine a weekend, just pure indulgence, binge watching, takeout, all the cozy vibes. But then Sunday night rolls around and you feel this, I don't know, weird emptiness.
You're describing that stress post-comfort the poem mentions. It's so spot on, isn't it? The idea that too much comfort can actually lead to a kind of discomfort. It's like a paradox almost.
And isn't that like such a human thing? We're programmed to seek pleasure, comfort, avoid pain. But what happens when that instinct backfires?
It makes you think about all the ways we try to engineer comfort into our lives these days, right? Noise-canceling headphones, perfectly curated social media feeds, even those meal kit services that deliver pre-portioned ingredients to your doorstep. We're obsessed with smoothing out the rough edges, but at what cost? Are we sacrificing something else in the process, maybe some essential part of the human experience?
And it's interesting you mention those because the poem itself, well, let's just say the author doesn't seem too convinced about its brilliance
Oh, what do I mean?
because they included this postscript.
Yeah.
And in it, they actually call the poem stupid.
Stupid. Really? Well, that's certainly unexpected.
You can say that again.
Yeah.
Talk about self-deprecation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here we are trying to unpack the deep meaning of this poem, and the author's over there like, nah, it's stupid.
It's a bold move, that's for sure. But does it change how we should interpret the poem? That's the question, isn't it?
Right. It's like, on the one hand, we have this poem that, even if it's using made-up words and repetition, is pointing to something real about how we as humans deal with discomfort.
Mhm.
And then the author turns around and undercuts the whole thing by calling it stupid.
It makes you wonder what they're really trying to do. Are they being intentionally ironic?
Oh, good point.
Because maybe they're not saying the poem is actually stupid, but rather they're poking fun at the way we tend to take ourselves and our art so seriously.
Yeah, I can see that. Like, maybe it's a commentary on our need to find meaning in everything, even in something as seemingly simple as a short, repetitive poem. Maybe they're saying, hey, lighten up. It's okay for art to just be, well, art.
Right. Maybe they're challenging us to question everything, even our own interpretations. Is there a right answer, a definitive meaning to this poem? Or is it, as the author suggests, simply stupid, open to interpretation, a blank canvas onto which we project our own ideas about comfort and discomfort?
Yeah, it's a great way to put it. And I think that's what makes this whole thing so fascinating. We have this seemingly simple piece of writing, but it sparks all these questions, these different layers of meaning, and maybe, just maybe, there isn't one right answer.
And isn't that often the mark of powerful art? It stays with you, it makes you think, it challenges your assumptions, even if you can't quite put your finger on why.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into a single short and possibly stupid poem, I'm left wondering, Could there be a kind of wisdom hidden in the absurd? Is it possible that by embracing the unconventional, the seemingly meaningless, we open ourselves up to a different kind of understanding, a fresh perspective on our own experiences, something to think about?